Hi, here's a bunch of ways my soul looked like on various explorations of myself as a soul, psychically, in non-physical realms. And also some of the things I learned on this self-exploratory journey of exploring my soul psychically, and perhaps some ideas for you on your journey for your self-exploration. So one of the ways my soul showed itself to me in the beginning of my journey, it was a stream of blue light. And on another occasion, it showed itself to me as a human woman, and she was showing things to me about myself and telling things about myself to me. And another way I've seen my soul was a system of golden energy streams of light, and they were coming from various directions, and they were going into a spine-like structure. And it looked like the nervous system. It looked like nerves going into the spine. And then this golden light energy was going up the spine. And it felt like a bunch of stories from different parts of my body, so to speak. So every tiny part of my body, or you can say every small and tiny part of myself, has had experiences, many experiences, and they look like they're small experiences. But they were all traveling, all these stories were traveling up the spine. And then I was following the golden light energy going up the spine, and then it got to the brain. Not surprisingly. It got to the brain and it started to accumulate in a kind of a lower section of the brain. And it was amalgamating there and almost being digested there or organized or united there somehow. And then I was wondering, okay, what's going to happen next? And then it just shot out of my head, my skull, up. And then I was following that slightly thicker, golden, flowy energy. And then guess what? It actually got connected, just like the previous streams of golden energy. It got connected into a larger spine, a bigger spine. And I've seen that there were a lot of similar kind of nerve-like golden energy streams of light coming into that bigger spine. And at that time, I realized that those were my different incarnations, and they were kind of going into one spine. And at that time, I was a bit overwhelmed because, and then it just went up again into a bigger brain. And I knew that, I don't know what it was, but I was again following that. It did exactly the same thing, amalgamated in the brain, the bottom center of the brain, and then it shut up again. And then I couldn't follow it anymore because I just realized that this was really, really, really huge, and it was pretty much endless, and the system was getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and I was overwhelmed, so I didn't really want to go up there anymore. And then at that time I realized what my question was, because I wasn't satisfied with this picture. And you know how people say, what is outside of you is a mirror image of what is inside of you. So in the psychic explorations, it's the same, because what I've seen psychically gave me information about what I was actually seeking, and what I was actually seeking in that particular exploration was I actually just wanted to know how big my soul was. That was my question. And then I've seen that it was really, really big. And I don't know, I think I wanted to see the classical picture of how we say, well, there's the source, that's how we're connected to the source, and then there's the soul, and then there's a physical incarnation. But it was just so gigantic, and I felt that I understood that I wanted to know where my soul connects to the source, I guess, to the one, to the all. And I didn't see it. I was just seeing infinite greater and greater, almost like fractals, but becoming bigger. I realized that the golden energy was this divine thing, which we can call God, source, one, all. Energy. So this golden thing, which I was seeking after all anyway, it was everywhere anyway. The problem I didn't like was that it was just getting too huge, and I knew that there wasn't an end to it, so I didn't see a point of going up. I felt a birth of a new question, which was about the organization of the soul, because I felt like there was something about an organization of incarnations as human beings, and also as non-human beings. And I felt like there was some kind of an organization there, where all of these experiences were shared and somehow organized. And I feel like that would be the next kind of question for me. So I didn't want to go up anymore. I went down. I thought, okay, well, if I can't, I already know what's up there. It's just going to get bigger and bigger. And I was overwhelmed. It was too big. So I looked down and I wanted to see. Later I realized, what I wanted to see? I wanted to see where it stops, where my soul stops on this side, because I saw there's no stopping on that side. So let's go there. Maybe we'll see a stopping point there. And I went down and I saw that golden stream, the little golden streams of energy. I followed them back down and, to the smallest, tiniest part of me. And I thought there must be an end. And what I saw was the golden streams of energy. They were going into it like capillaries, or like river deltas, or like the roots of a tree. They were becoming kind of smaller, and like disappearing into darkness, into nothingness. And I felt like that's where something comes out of nothing. And also I felt this is not a nothing. And many times on my explorations, I've seen this blackness, emptiness, which feels super amazing, as I'm sure many people who meditate and do self-searching have found a place that's called the void, like a great void. And I like to call that void as divine fertility, because like everything can come out of that nothingness. It's not really nothingness. And I feel like it's very much, metaphorically similar to the soil, the black soil from which trees grow and plants grow. The roots go inside and feed on the soil. And we kind of think, well, what is soil, right? It's things that have come to die. They lived and then they died. They've had their experiences. They died. And then they were digested by little animals and decayed, also eaten by fungus, by the mycelium. And it just feels to me that, when the mushrooms eat physical bodies after they die, in the words of computer language, I guess I could say, it's like they are archived and they're sent somewhere to a server. I don't know. But this black space, the void, felt to me like it was divine fertility. So I've seen like the smaller and golden energy streams just go down like roots of a tree and feed, like eat into the darkness. And it's infinite, because the darkness is infinite, the void is infinite. So there's an infinite amount of eating into nothingness, which is not nothingness, it's a divine fertility. And what I learned from this exploration and my other explorations is that an advice to an explorer is noticing what is it that you're really seeking. Because the soul, or whatever you're asking to see, to explore, is going to look differently every time. Why? Because it depends on what you're actually seeking. Like at that particular time, I was seeking, I didn't even know it myself. It wasn't a conscious question I had. but inside of me there was this question of how big is the soul. So a cool kind of tip, I guess, for self-exploration or exploration of anything in the psychic realm is if you see something, ask yourself, well, that's what I see. That means what was the actual question within me that even I didn't notice? And then when you're kind of looking at that, what you saw, and then going back to yourself, realizing what your actual question was that even you didn't notice, that is also a kind of self-exploration and a finding of yourself, a knowing of yourself that happens almost like a side effect of you asking a question. So if you like this kind of self-exploration psychically, join me and my friend Chelsea for a workshop that's free coming up on October 14, 2023, 1 p.m. EST on the Akashic Records and Dreams, and the topic is going to be Finding Your Soul. The Zoom link is in the comments below. And if you're watching this video after October 14th, 2023, check out the other links and join us in our Conscious Collective Facebook group and newsletter.